Your worth is not measured by others' approval. True value comes from what you give, not what you get. Confidence grows when you stop waiting and start acting. Many people spend their lives waiting for others to notice them, to tell them they're good enough. That constant need for validation holds them back from reaching their true potential. It's exhausting and unfulfilling to depend on outside approval for your happiness and success. What if the key to a better life is to stop waiting for applause and focus on creating real value every day? When you act from your own purpose and build with discipline, you take control of your future. This video will show how to break free from the trap of seeking validation and start living with confidence, purpose, and real impact. If you're ready to stop waiting for permission and begin owning your power, then let's dive in. Chapter 1. Stop asking for approval and trust yourself fully. There comes a point in your life where you have to stop asking for permission to be who you are. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need their applause. And you don't need to hear someone say, "Yes, you're good enough," before you start doing what you know you're capable of. That moment you're waiting for, where someone finally sees your worth, finally believes in you, that moment may never come. And the truth is, it doesn't need to. If you're always looking for validation, you'll stay stuck in the same place, waiting for others to accept you, waiting for the green light, waiting for someone to say, "Now you can go." But life isn't going to wait. Time isn't going to pause until you feel ready. You're going to have to move forward, even when no one is clapping. People spend years trying to win approval, from parents, from teachers, from friends, from society. They get degrees they don't want, jobs they don't like, live lives they didn't choose, just to get that one nod, that one "well done." But ask yourself this: what happens when you get it? What really changes inside you? Most of the time, not much. You get the praise, and for a few minutes, it feels good. But then the emptiness returns. Because the problem wasn't the lack of approval. The problem was that you didn't trust yourself. You didn't believe that your own voice, your own instincts, your own path were enough. And that's where everything begins. It begins with trusting yourself. Not in some fake motivational way, but in the real, honest way, where you say, "I know what I want. I know what I believe in. I know what I'm capable of, and I don't need you to confirm it for me." Trusting yourself doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you'll never make a mistake. It means you stop putting your power in other people's hands. It means you stop waiting for everyone else to be okay with your choices before you move. It's about waking up and choosing to back yourself even when nobody else does. Think about this. Most people who changed the world were doubted. Most people who started something meaningful were questioned, laughed at, or even rejected. But they didn't quit. Not because everyone believed in them, but because they believed in themselves. That belief wasn't a feeling, it was a decision. You have to decide that your voice matters, that your actions count, that your journey is worth walking, even if nobody walks it with you. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't need to prove yourself every second. Not everyone will understand your dreams, your path, or your effort, and that's okay. That's not your job. Your job is to stay focused on becoming better, on doing what matters, on living in a way that makes you proud when no one's watching. And make no mistake, that's hard. It's hard when people question your choices. It's hard when they don't support you. It's hard when you feel invisible or misunderstood. But this is where you grow. This is where you learn to stand on your own. Not with ego, not with arrogance, but with clarity and conviction. Stop handing your self-worth to people who haven't walked a single mile in your shoes. Stop tying your value to likes, comments, compliments, or applause. These things come and go. If your worth depends on outside approval, you'll always feel like you're not enough. No matter what you achieve, no matter what you do, you'll always be chasing that next pat on the back. But when your validation comes from within, when you know who you are, when you're proud of the effort you're putting in, when you're honest with yourself, that's when you win. You start showing up differently. You stop needing to impress. You stop playing small. You stop waiting for the right time. You begin to live on your terms, based on values that actually mean something to you. Here's the truth. No one tells you when you trust yourself, you free yourself. You free yourself from the noise, from the opinions, from the constant pressure to be liked. You start choosing actions over approval, progress over praise, growth over comfort, and that's when everything changes. You become dangerous in the best way, because no one can control you anymore. No one can stop you with doubt, or silence you with rejection. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. So if you've been waiting for someone to notice you, to support you, to validate your effort, this is your wake-up call. Stop waiting. Start moving. Your life doesn't need permission to begin. You already have everything you need to take the next step. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, believe in your work even if nobody praises it. Believe in your vision even if nobody sees it. Believe in your worth even if nobody says it. You're the only one who can live your life. Don't let that life be shaped by the opinions of others. Stand up, decide, act, and trust that your value is not given to you. It's lived through what you do every single day. Every time you show up, every time you choose discipline, every time you push forward without needing someone to notice, you are building something real. That's what value looks like. Quiet, consistent, focused, true, and you don't need a single person to clap for it. You just need to keep going. Because the world doesn't need more people seeking approval. It needs more people who act with purpose. People who lead themselves. People who choose value over validation. Be that person. Starting today. Starting now. Chapter 2. Build confidence by doing what matters every day. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not a personality trait reserved for certain people. Confidence is built, and it's built slowly, one action at a time, by doing what actually matters, not what feels good in the moment, not what gets attention, not what people expect, but what truly moves you forward. A lot of people think they need to feel confident before they take action. They think they need to feel strong before they start doing the work. But that's not how it works. Confidence isn't a requirement to act. It's a result of taking action. You don't wait for it. You earn it. You build it by showing up consistently. You build it by doing the things you know you should do, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's how real self-belief is formed, through repetition, effort, and daily discipline. If you're waking up every day hoping confidence will just show up, you'll stay stuck. You'll keep making excuses. You'll keep saying, "I'm not ready yet," or "I'm not good enough yet." But the truth is, confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. Every time you keep your word to yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you say, "I'm going to do this," and then actually follow through, even in the smallest way, you prove to yourself that you're reliable, that your word means something, that you're someone who takes action, not someone who just talks about it. And that trust in yourself becomes the foundation for lasting confidence. Doing what matters doesn't always feel exciting. It's not glamorous. Most of the time, it's quiet. It's uncomfortable. It's repetitive. But that's where the change happens. That's where your strength is built. When you wake up early, even though you feel tired. When you stick to your plan, even though distractions show up. When you keep practicing, even though no one's watching. When you do the hard thing, even though it would be easier to quit. That's how confidence is created. Not in huge bursts of motivation, but in those small, honest moments when you choose what matters over what's easy. If you want to feel better about yourself, stop chasing quick wins. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop trying to impress other people. Start doing what makes you proud. Start building a life that's aligned with your values. Start showing up for yourself in the smallest ways. Day after day. Confidence is not loud. It's quiet. It's steady. It doesn't need to prove anything. It just shows up, again and again, with purpose. You don't need a huge goal to start building confidence. You just need a reason. A real reason. Something that matters to you, not because someone else told you it's important, but because deep down you know it will change you. Do something that scares you. Do something that challenges you. Do something that forces you to grow, and do it every day. The confidence will follow, not right away, but eventually. There will be days when you feel like nothing's working. Days when you question everything. Days when you wonder if all the effort is worth it. And on those days you have to remind yourself why you started. You have to keep going even when the progress is invisible. Because confidence isn't about feeling great all the time. It's about knowing that no matter how you feel, you're still moving forward. That's power. You don't need to announce what you're doing. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to do what matters, consistently, quietly, intentionally. And over time, that effort will speak for itself. You'll start to feel different. You'll carry yourself differently. You'll trust yourself more, because you'll know you've earned it. You'll know you didn't fake your way through. You didn't wait for someone to save you. You didn't rely on motivation or approval or praise. You showed up. You did the work. You kept going. And that's what makes you confident. Not the compliments, not the success, not the praise, the work. So if you're tired of doubting yourself, tired of feeling small, tired of holding back, start focusing on what matters. Take your eyes off the noise. Ignore the distractions. Turn down the volume of outside opinions. Look at your habits. Look at your routine. Look at the choices you're making every single day. Ask yourself, are these choices building me up or breaking me down? Are they making me stronger or keeping me stuck? If the answer doesn't feel right, change it. One step at a time. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to commit to doing what matters, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable. Confidence doesn't come from comfort. It comes from progress. Every small win adds up. Every tough decision builds you. Every disciplined moment shapes your character. That's how you become someone who doesn't question their worth every day. That's how you stop feeling like an imposter in your own life. That's how you stop needing to be told, you're doing great, because deep down, you already know you are. So start now. Not next year. Not when life gets easier. Now, pick something that matters, stick to it, and show up for it every day. Even when no one sees it. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when it's hard, because the real reward isn't just confidence, it's becoming someone you actually respect. And that's worth everything. Chapter 3. Create value before expecting anyone to notice you. Everyone wants to be noticed. Everyone wants to be recognized. That's natural, But the question is, have you built something worth noticing? This is where a lot of people get it wrong. They crave attention before they've created value. They want results before they've put in the real work. They want applause before they've made any real impact. But the truth is simple. The world doesn't reward your desire to be seen. It rewards the value you provide. People aren't ignoring you because they don't care. People just have a lot going on. They're busy. They're focused on their own lives, their own problems, their own dreams. If you want their time, their attention, their respect, you have to earn it. And you earn it by showing up with something real, something helpful, something meaningful. That something is value. Value is what makes people stop and listen. Value is what keeps people coming back. Value is what builds trust and credibility. If you want to be taken seriously, you can't just talk about what you plan to do. You have to create something that actually helps someone, that solves a problem, that moves the needle. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about building a flawless brand, a polished skill set, or a perfect image. It's about doing the work, the honest, consistent, behind-the-scenes work that no one claps for in the beginning, the work that builds your character and shapes your results. You don't get recognition just for showing up. You get it for contributing something useful, something strong, something that matters. If you haven't done that yet, then that's where your focus should be. Not on who's watching, not on who's liking, not on who's talking about you, but on what you're actually building. There are people who spend more time trying to be seen than actually becoming valuable. They talk loud. They post often. They demand attention. But when you look closely, there's nothing solid underneath. No real skill, no real growth, no real service, just noise. That's not the path to success. The people who succeed long-term are the ones who get serious about value. They focus on what they can give before they ask for anything in return. They focus on developing their mindset, improving their craft, building better habits, and helping others in ways that matter. You have to become someone people can count on. Someone who adds clarity, strength, hope, or guidance when others need it. That's value. And it only comes through effort, through learning, through taking responsibility for your own growth. You don't wait until someone notices you to start creating. You create first. You build first. You commit first. And the recognition comes later. If you've earned it, people respect consistency. They respect results. They respect character. That's how you build a foundation that lasts. If you're not being noticed yet, that's not a sign to quit. That's a sign to get better, to go deeper, to sharpen your skills, to learn more, to give more, to serve more. And in that process, you become stronger. You become someone who doesn't need attention to feel valuable, because you already know what you bring to the table. You've worked for it. You've sacrificed for it. You've shown up for it. And that creates confidence that doesn't shake when people don't clap. Most people won't see the work you do in private. They won't know the hours, the sacrifices, the challenges, but all that work adds weight to what you offer. It adds power to your words. It gives depth to your actions. And eventually, when the spotlight does come, you'll be ready, not because you craved it, but because you earned it. You don't need to beg people to believe in you. You don't need to prove yourself to everyone you meet. You just need to keep building something real. Keep doing work that matters. Keep becoming someone who delivers value with or without recognition. Because the truth is, when you focus on value, the right people will notice. Not always fast, not always loud, but eventually, and when they do, It'll be because you've built something that speaks for itself. That kind of attention sticks. That kind of trust lasts, because it wasn't bought. It wasn't faked. It was earned. So stop obsessing over who's watching. Stop worrying about followers, likes, comments, or praise. Stop measuring your worth by how much attention you're getting. Shift your focus. Focus on becoming skilled. Focus on becoming knowledgeable. Focus on being consistent, helpful, dependable, and impactful. Focus on solving problems. Focus on learning from failure. Focus on showing up in small ways that create real change. That's the work that builds real confidence. That's the work that turns silence into strength. That's the work that attracts the right people, the right opportunities, and the right momentum. Not overnight, not easily, but eventually, when you stop chasing validation and start focusing on value, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting to be chosen. You start becoming someone who moves with purpose and self-respect. And that shift changes everything. You walk into rooms differently. You handle setbacks differently. You respond to doubt differently. Because you're not hoping to be noticed anymore. You're too busy creating something worth noticing. That's the standard. Not perfection, but effort. Not attention, but value. So focus on what you can control. Be someone who shows up, who builds, who grows, who keeps going, who creates value, even when it feels like no one's paying attention. Because that's the kind of person who eventually gets noticed, and more importantly, respected. The applause will come later. For now, do the work that matters, the work that improves you, the work that helps others, the work that creates impact. That's the kind of value no one can ignore forever. And when that time comes, you won't just be seen, you'll be remembered. Chapter 4. Show up daily even when no one claps. There's something powerful about showing up when no one's watching. Most people don't realize that consistency without recognition is one of the hardest things to master. It's easy to give your best when you're being praised. It's easy to work hard when people are cheering you on. It's easy to stay committed when others are noticing your effort. But what happens when there's silence? What happens when no one is clapping, no one is encouraging you, and no one is validating your work? That's when your character is revealed. That's when you find out if you're really committed to the process or just addicted to attention. That's when you learn whether your reason for starting was strong enough to carry you through the quiet days. Because the truth is, most of the journey will be quiet. No spotlight, no applause, no crowd, just you, just the work, just the discipline to keep showing up when it would be easier to stay in bed, to take a break, to say, "What's the point?" But there is a point. There is always a point. The progress you can't see right now is still progress. The effort you're making is still shaping your future. The days you feel invisible are still building strength. It just doesn't show on the outside yet. That's why you have to keep showing up. The best work you'll ever do won't be celebrated when it's happening. It won't be acknowledged in real time. It won't trend on social media or be admired by strangers. The best work often happens in silence when you're exhausted, but keep going. When you're overlooked, but stay focused. When you're doubting, but still choose to take the next step. That's how transformation happens. It's not loud, it's not pretty, it's not dramatic. It's repetitive, quiet, slow, and often unrecognized. But over time, that steady grind turns into undeniable results. You don't need anyone to clap for you to make progress. You don't need anyone to notice before you start growing. You just need the courage to be consistent, to put your head down and get to work, to keep moving, even when no one is validating your effort. People often give up too soon, not because they're not capable, not because they don't have talent, but because they expected the process to feel different. They expected more excitement, more motivation, more feedback. And when those things didn't come, they quit. But consistency is about doing the work even when it's boring, even when it's thankless, even when it feels like no one cares. Because deep down, you know it matters. You know the commitment matters. The discipline matters. The integrity matters. It's about showing up because you said you would, because you know where you're headed, because you're not waiting for permission to grow. You don't need validation to stay on track. You need vision. What you're building takes time. It takes effort. It takes days where you feel unseen. That's not failure. That's just the process. When no one claps, your job is still the same. Show up. Show up for your health. Show up for your goals. Show up for your growth. Show up for your purpose. Show up for yourself. Because even if no one sees you now, one day they will. One day the results will speak for themselves. One day the strength you built in private will be visible in everything you do. But that only happens if you don't quit. If you keep writing when no one reads. If you keep building when no one notices. If you keep training when no one's watching. If you keep learning when no one's teaching. If you keep showing up when no one's applauding. That's what separates the people who dream from the people who make those dreams real. Consistency, without recognition, builds mental toughness. It teaches you how to rely on discipline instead of motivation. It teaches you how to work for something greater than attention. It teaches you how to respect the process. Because the process doesn't care how you feel. The process rewards what you do. If you only show up when you feel good, you won't go far. If you only put in effort when others are watching, you're not committed. You're performing. There's a difference. True commitment shows up every day. It keeps moving forward on the worst days, not just the best ones. It honors the goal even when it feels like progress is invisible. And when you develop that mindset, you become unstoppable. Not because everything goes your way, but because nothing can stop you from showing up. So if you're feeling discouraged because no one is noticing your work, keep going. If you're feeling tired of doing the right things without praise, keep going. If you're wondering whether it's all worth it, keep going. The applause will come eventually, but when it does, it won't matter as much. Because by then, you'll know that your value was never tied to other people's opinions. You'll know that your confidence came from within. You'll know that your strength was built in silence. You'll know that the person you became through showing up is far more powerful than the attention you used to crave. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being seen. It's about being solid. You don't need a crowd to make an impact. You need consistency. You need focus. You need belief in what you're doing. And most of all, you need to keep showing up, even when no one claps. Especially then. Chapter 5. Take action based on purpose, not attention. Most people make decisions based on what others will think or how much attention they'll get. They chase likes, followers, compliments, and approval. They take action because they want to be seen, heard, and praised. But the problem with that is it puts your worth outside of yourself. It makes you dependent on others, and it sets you up for disappointment because attention is fleeting, unpredictable, and unreliable. If you want to live a meaningful and fulfilling life, your actions must come from purpose, not attention. Purpose is the reason why you get up in the morning. It's the inner drive that keeps you moving forward when things get tough. Purpose is deeper than recognition or applause. Purpose is about serving something bigger than yourself. It's about making an impact that lasts. When your motivation is tied to attention, your focus shifts. You start caring more about how things look than how things are. You begin to act based on what will get you noticed instead of what will get you results. That's dangerous because attention fades quickly, but purpose lasts. Actions based on purpose have staying power. They are sustainable because they come from within. They don't depend on outside approval. They fuel long-term growth and true satisfaction. Purpose creates clarity. When you know your why, it's easier to say no to distractions. It's easier to prioritize the things that matter. It's easier to keep pushing when no one is watching, because your energy comes from your vision, not from validation. Taking action based on attention creates inconsistency. You work hard when people are watching, but give up when the spotlight fades. You chase trends instead of building skills. You focus on quantity over quality. Your efforts become scattered, and your progress stalls. Purpose-driven action is focused. It's deliberate. It's patient. It's disciplined. When you act from purpose, you're not concerned about instant results or applause. You're concerned about growth, impact, and meaning. That mindset changes everything. It gives you freedom from the pressure to perform for others. It reduces anxiety about what people think. It allows you to be authentic and true to yourself. It builds resilience because your value doesn't depend on others. When your actions come from purpose, every step you take builds momentum. Even when the progress is slow, even when the results aren't visible yet, you know you're on the right path. That belief carries you forward. Purpose also builds confidence. When you focus on meaning instead of attention, you develop a stronger sense of self. You start trusting your instincts. You stop needing constant approval. You become self-reliant. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback or refuse to learn. Purpose-driven people welcome honest input, but they don't let opinions derail them or determine their worth. They take what's useful and keep moving. Attention may bring short-term rewards, but purpose brings lasting fulfillment. It gives you a reason to keep going when everything else tells you to quit. It pushes you to improve even when no one is watching. It encourages you to give your best, not for recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. When your actions are driven by purpose, you start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You stay calm in setbacks because you know they're part of the journey. You build patience because you understand that meaningful success takes time. Purpose also shapes your relationships. When you act with meaning, you attract people who share your values. You build connections based on respect and trust, not superficial attention. You become a leader, not because of your popularity, but because of your integrity. It's important to regularly remind yourself why you started. Revisit your goals and values. Keep your purpose clear and strong. That way, when distractions come, or when you're tempted to seek attention, you can return to your true north. Take a moment to reflect on what truly matters to you. What impact do you want to have? What legacy do you want to leave? What kind of person do you want to be? When your actions align with these answers, you'll notice a shift. Your motivation becomes more consistent. Your work feels more meaningful. Your confidence grows, and your life starts to move in the direction you want. Purpose doesn't eliminate challenges or guarantee success, but it gives you a foundation to keep going. It turns struggles into lessons. It turns failures into growth. It turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary results. Don't let the desire for attention control your choices. Don't let the fear of being unnoticed stop you from acting. Focus on what you can control: your purpose, your effort, your integrity. Act because it matters, not because it's popular. Act because you believe in what you're building, not because you want applause. Act because you respect yourself enough to give your best, no matter who's watching. That's how you build a life of value. That's how you become unstoppable. That's how you stop waiting for validation and start creating something real. Every action based on purpose is a step toward freedom, fulfillment, and true success. Take that step today. Chapter 6. Focus on results, not recognition from others. In a world where likes, shares, and comments are constantly competing for attention, it's easy to get distracted by recognition. Everyone wants to be acknowledged, praised, and seen. But chasing recognition instead of focusing on results is a trap that leads nowhere. It can drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and slow down your progress. Focusing on results means shifting your attention away from what people think and toward what you're actually producing. It's about measuring your success by tangible outcomes, not by applause or approval. Recognition is temporary. It's fleeting. It depends on external factors, other people's opinions, moods, and attention spans. Results are lasting. They're proof of your effort, your skill, and your growth. Results show what you're capable of, no matter who notices. When you focus on recognition, you risk becoming a performer rather than a doer. You may alter your actions to please others instead of following what truly works. You might sacrifice quality for popularity or take shortcuts to gain quick attention. On the other hand, focusing on results requires discipline and patience. It requires committing to consistent effort even when no one is watching or praising you. It demands honest evaluation, celebrating real progress, and addressing what needs improvement. Results give you control. They provide clear feedback on what's working and what's not. When you pay attention to outcomes, you make better decisions, you learn faster, you improve continuously. Recognition can be misleading. Sometimes, people praise things that aren't helpful or meaningful. Sometimes, popular opinions don't align with what's right for you. When you depend on recognition, your path becomes dependent on others' approval, which can be unpredictable and unreliable. Results, however, don't lie. They are facts. They are the evidence of your hard work. They don't care about popularity contests or social media trends. Results show growth in your skills, your mindset, and your life. This focus on results builds resilience. When you face setbacks, you don't crumble because your value isn't tied to recognition. You see obstacles as part of the process and keep working toward your goals. When you concentrate on results, you become less reactive. You stop worrying about who's watching and more about what you're creating. That shift helps you stay grounded and motivated. In practical terms, focusing on results means setting clear, measurable goals. It means tracking your progress honestly. It means celebrating milestones based on your own standards, not on how much attention you get. It also means being willing to do the work even when it's difficult or unnoticed. Real growth often happens in private. That's where skills are developed, habits are formed, and character is built. There's freedom in focusing on results. You stop seeking validation from others. You build confidence from within. You learn to trust the process and yourself. Results build lasting satisfaction. They give you proof of your capability and progress. Recognition might feel good for a moment, but real pride comes from knowing you've done the work. In the end, the people who succeed are those who focus on what matters most, the results they create through consistent, purposeful action. Shift your focus to results. Evaluate your progress with honesty. Build your life and work around what you produce. not what others say about it. That's how you stop waiting for validation and start acting with real value. Chapter 7. Set goals that reflect your real self. Setting goals is something everyone talks about, but many people don't realize that not all goals are created equal. The most powerful goals are those that truly reflect who you are deep down. Goals that connect with your values, your passions, and your unique purpose. When your goals come from the outside, what others expect, what looks impressive, what seems popular, you risk chasing dreams that don't fit. You risk ending up feeling empty or lost, even if you achieve them. Real fulfillment comes from setting goals that align with your real self. Goals that speak to your heart, challenge your strengths, and inspire your growth. To do that, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to explore what matters to you, not what others want for you, what excites you, what energizes you, what feels meaningful, even if it's difficult. Goals that reflect your real self aren't just about success or money or status. They're about becoming who you want to be. They're about creating a life that feels authentic and satisfying. When you set goals that fit you, your motivation is natural and sustainable. You're less likely to give up when things get tough because your goals matter on a deeper level. You don't have to please anyone else with your goals. They don't have to fit a certain mold or timeline. They just have to be real to you. That doesn't mean your goals can't be ambitious or challenging. In fact, the best goals stretch you. They push you outside your comfort zone. They force you to grow in ways you didn't think possible. But those challenges are easier to face when the goal connects to your true self, when your purpose drives your effort. Setting goals that reflect your real self also means being flexible. Life changes. You change. Your priorities shift. It's okay to adjust your goals to stay true to who you are becoming. Don't hold on to goals out of guilt or obligation. Don't chase goals because you feel you should. Instead, regularly check in with yourself. Make sure your goals still feel right. Make sure they still align with your values and vision. When your goals reflect your real self, you act with confidence. You don't second-guess your direction because it feels right. You make decisions that support your growth and well-being. That clarity helps you stay focused. You waste less energy on distractions or trying to please others. You build momentum on what truly matters. Your goals become a roadmap, not a checklist to impress others, but a guide to becoming your best self. It's important to break big goals into smaller steps. That makes progress manageable and keeps motivation steady. Celebrate those small wins because they show you're moving closer to what matters. Surround yourself with people who support your real self. People who encourage your growth without judgment. They'll help keep you accountable and remind you why your goals matter. When your goals reflect your real self, setbacks feel less discouraging. They become opportunities to learn and adjust, not reasons to quit. You build resilience because you're working towards something authentic, not something imposed on you. Ultimately, goals that reflect your real self give you a life filled with purpose and satisfaction. They free you from chasing validation because you're driven by what's true for you. Take time to explore your values, strengths, and passions. Align your goals with those truths. Focus on what will help you grow and contribute meaningfully. That's how you stop waiting for validation and start acting with real value. When your goals come from your real self, your actions become more powerful, your confidence grows, your life becomes more fulfilling. Set goals that reflect who you really are and live the life you're meant to live. Chapter 8. Silence the doubt. By doing the hard work, doubt is something everyone faces. It creeps in quietly and loudly at the worst moments. It questions your ability, your worth, and your purpose. It makes you hesitate and second-guess yourself. It can stop you in your tracks if you let it. But doubt only gains power when you give it space. The way to silence doubt isn't through wishful thinking or waiting for confidence to appear. The way to silence doubt is through hard work. Hard work is the ultimate antidote to doubt because it shifts your focus from fear to action. It replaces uncertainty with progress. It shows you what you're capable of instead of what you're afraid of. When you do the hard work, you prove to yourself that you can handle challenges. You build skills and strength that boost your confidence. You develop resilience that keeps you going even when doubt returns. Doubt thrives in inaction. When you sit and think too much, when you wait for the right moment, when you avoid discomfort, doubt grows louder. But when you move forward, even in small steps, doubt loses its voice. Doing the hard work means showing up even when it's difficult. When you're tired, when you don't feel motivated, when distractions tempt you to quit. That's when you silence doubt by pushing through. Hard work is not always glamorous. It's often repetitive, uncomfortable, and slow. It requires discipline to keep going without immediate rewards. But that discipline builds character. It builds trust in yourself. When you face doubt, remind yourself that it's normal. Everyone feels it. But you don't have to listen. You have a choice. You can acknowledge doubt and keep moving forward. Or you can let it stop you. Hard work gives you evidence that you're making progress. That evidence weakens doubt's hold. You can look back and see how far you've come. You can point to achievements that prove you're capable. This creates a positive cycle. Hard work builds confidence. Confidence reduces doubt. Reduced doubt makes it easier to do more hard work, and the cycle continues, pushing you closer to your goals. It's important to remember that doubt doesn't disappear completely. It might come back when you face new challenges or uncertainties, but by then, you'll have built a habit of action that helps you manage it. Silencing doubt isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to act despite those feelings. It's about accepting discomfort as part of growth. Hard work also teaches patience. Results don't come overnight. Progress takes time. When doubt asks, "Is it worth it?" Hard work answers by continuing the effort day after day. When you focus on doing the hard work, you build momentum. That momentum makes it easier to keep going. It creates a foundation that doubt can't shake. Every time you push through doubt with effort, you strengthen your mindset. You become someone who doesn't give up easily. Someone who trusts the process. Someone who values progress over perfection. This mindset changes your relationship with doubt. Instead of fearing it, you use it as a signal that you're growing. Instead of avoiding it, you meet it with action. Silencing doubt by doing hard work also means embracing failure as a learning opportunity. When things don't go as planned, hard work helps you get back up and try again. It helps you adjust and improve. You stop seeing doubt as a stop sign. You see it as part of the journey. Remember, doubt doesn't define you. Your actions do. Choose to let your work speak louder than your fears. Choose to keep moving forward, no matter what doubt says. That's how you build real confidence. That's how you grow stronger every day. That's how you stop waiting for validation and start acting with real value. Chapter 9. Let your discipline speak louder than praise. Discipline is one of the most powerful tools you have in your life. It's what separates those who achieve their goals from those who get stuck, waiting for motivation, inspiration, or external approval. Discipline isn't flashy or exciting. It doesn't seek attention or applause, but it speaks louder and lasts longer than any kind of praise. When you rely on praise to keep going, your progress becomes unstable. Praise is unpredictable. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it feels good, sometimes it feels hollow. When your motivation depends on others, you give away your power. Discipline, on the other hand, is reliable. It doesn't depend on the mood of others or the timing of events. Discipline means showing up and doing the work even when no one is watching, even when you feel tired or discouraged, even when it's boring or difficult. Discipline builds habits. Habits create consistency. Consistency leads to results. That's a simple formula, but it's often ignored because discipline takes effort and patience. If you want your life to change, if you want to stop waiting for validation and start acting with value, your discipline must become louder than any praise you hope to receive. Discipline is the voice inside that says, "I will do this because it matters, even if no one notices." It's the commitment to keep going when praise is absent. It's the steady push forward through setbacks and distractions. Without discipline, praise becomes a crutch. You chase it like a reward instead of focusing on the real work. You start making decisions based on who will notice or compliment you, not on what will actually move you forward. Discipline frees you from that trap. It makes you independent. It makes your progress about your own standards, not other people's opinions. When discipline speaks louder, you build self-trust. You prove to yourself that your word matters, that you are capable of following through on your commitments. That builds confidence stronger than any external validation. Discipline also helps you face discomfort. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. It happens when you push through resistance, boredom, fear, or laziness. Discipline helps you show up even when you don't feel like it. Praise can be motivating in the short term, but it fades quickly. Discipline creates momentum that lasts. It carries you forward on days when motivation is gone and praise is silent. To develop discipline, start by creating simple routines that align with your goals. Consistency beats intensity. Small daily actions add up to big results over time. Avoid waiting for motivation or recognition. Decide what needs to be done, then do it regardless of how you feel or what others say. Discipline also means saying no to distractions and temptations that don't serve your purpose. It means prioritizing your time and energy on what really matters. When you let discipline lead, you become less reactive. You don't depend on praise or approval to validate your worth. You become your own source of motivation and accountability. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or refusing to celebrate your achievements. Praise can be encouraging, but it should never replace the foundation of discipline. At the end of the day, discipline is the loudest voice in your life. It speaks through your consistent effort, your daily habits, your commitment to growth. Praise may come and go, but discipline remains. It builds character, shapes your identity, and leads to real success. If you want to stop waiting for validation, start acting with value, and live a life of purpose, make discipline your priority. Let it guide your actions, define your mindset, and speak louder than any applause. Chapter 10. Be proud of growth no one else sees. Growth is a quiet process. It doesn't always happen with fanfare or applause. In fact, most of the important growth happens when no one is watching. It happens in the moments you face your fears alone. It happens when you push through doubts and distractions in silence. It happens behind the scenes, away from the spotlight. One of the biggest challenges is learning to be proud of that unseen growth. To value progress that doesn't get likes, compliments, or public recognition. Because if you only measure growth by what others notice, you'll miss the most important kind. The growth no one else sees is the one that changes you at the core. It's the mindset shift, the new habits, the extra effort, the small daily wins that add up over time. These are the moments that build real strength and resilience. When you become proud of growth no one else sees, you take ownership of your journey. You stop depending on others to validate your progress. You build confidence that doesn't shake based on external approval. This kind of pride comes from understanding that transformation is a process, not an event. It's about the work you do quietly, consistently, and with integrity. It's easy to get discouraged when the world doesn't notice your progress. When you're putting in the work but results aren't obvious. When others don't celebrate your wins, but those moments are part of the process, not a sign that you're failing. Being proud of unseen growth means recognizing that every effort counts. Every choice to stay committed, every decision to improve, every time you refuse to give up. These are victories, even if no one applauds. This mindset keeps you motivated when external validation is absent. It creates a sense of self-worth that comes from within, not from outside sources. When you focus on growth that no one else sees, you develop patience. You learn that success is not always immediate, that real change takes time, that progress is often invisible until it reaches a tipping point. That patience makes it easier to stay consistent and keep moving forward. It also helps you develop humility. You accept that growth is ongoing and imperfect. You stop comparing yourself to others or rushing the process. Pride in unseen growth means valuing the journey over the destination. It means finding joy in becoming better every day, not just in the applause that comes later. This attitude strengthens your resilience. When setbacks happen, you remember how far you've come even if no one else does. You remind yourself that growth isn't always visible, but it's always happening. You also become more compassionate toward yourself. You acknowledge your struggles and celebrate your quiet victories. That builds emotional strength that fuels future success. Being proud of unseen growth changes how you define success. Success isn't just external achievements, it's internal progress. It's becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. That perspective frees you from the need to constantly prove yourself. It frees you to focus on what really matters, your own development and impact. No one else has to see your growth for it to be real or valuable. Your effort is enough. Your progress is enough. Every moment of growth adds up. Every day you choose to improve shapes your future. Over time, the unseen work becomes undeniable results. So, embrace the quiet progress. Celebrate the small wins. Take pride in your growth even when no one else notices. That pride builds confidence. That confidence builds momentum. That momentum leads to lasting success. In the end, being proud of growth no one else sees is a powerful form of self-validation. It's the foundation for acting with real value and living a life that matters. Your growth is your strength, whether it's recognized or not. Own it, appreciate it, be proud of it. That's how you stop waiting for validation and start living your true potential.